Here now to give us more perspective is BNC host Aisha Mills. Aisha, good to see you. Happy Monday to you.
Happy Monday. Good to see you, Laverne.
Good to see you. I don't know, Aisha, how happy it is for the Texas Dems. What do you think?
Oh, this is such a mess. I try to always think about the fact that these lawmakers are people, right? We're looking and kind of gawking as if they're this legislative body doing this maneuvering. But at the end of the day, these are people that have families. And what a lot of folks don't realize is that they actually have full-time jobs that are not legislating in the Texas state legislature. They are paid less than $10,000 a year to serve the people in the state house. And this act, this literally this righteous kind of activism that all of the caucus is doing by coming to Washington, fleeing for an entire month so that they don't have to cast a vote on this horrible, vicious bill, is costing them money because they've got to pay their own way. The caucus itself, the Democratic Party, whoever it is, had to pay for these lawmakers to get to Washington, then has to put them up. They've got to pay to sustain themselves. Again, they make less than $10,000 a year to do this job on behalf of the people. And as we've just heard, some of them have contracted COVID, and we don't know where they got it from. But certainly leaving state, flying to Washington, D.C., God only knows what can happen, in the middle of that. So I just want to always come back to the fact that these are literally warriors on behalf of justice at this point. These people are doing the people's work. It is not glamorous. It's not always this exciting. They are undercompensated ridiculously. And so many of them, like I said, because they don't make much money doing this job, they've got other full-time jobs that they're trying to do remotely just to kind of keep it all together and juggle it, all the while going and trying to lobby Congress, this administration, on the behalf of, the residents of their state. So kudos to them for everything that they're doing. We should all be grateful for them. And this is certainly, a model of true legislative activism. I just don't know that it's gonna matter at the end of the day, but I'm grateful for their efforts.
Well, you know what, Aisha, I think most people would agree with you that they're hardworking and, they're putting themselves on the line. But let's listen to what Senate Minority Leader Mitch McConnell had to say about this.
State legislators from Texas decided to grab some beer, hop on a private plane, and flee the state in what they are pretending is some great moral crusade. In reality, they've just come here to Washington to snap selfies, bask in the limelight, and beg Senate Democrats to take over Texas elections. Once again, this outrage is completely phony. The Texas legislature was going to consider bills that would expand the minimum hours of early voting, make even more counties provide 12-hour days of early voting, and make it even easier for voters to fix mistakes on mail-in ballots so their votes would actually count.
Well, see, Aisha, you've been corrected now. You thought they were going there, to do their duty. They were going to take selfies, right?
Right, which is exactly what the insurrectionists were doing in January, too, right? They were just drinking beer, coming through, taking some selfies, right? This is his description of everybody who comes to Washington, which just goes to show you how much Mitch McConnell devalues the job that he and his band of merry crazies are supposed to actually be doing there in Washington. Because he looks at pretty much everybody who comes to lobby him and his colleagues as just folks who want to come and take selfies and they're rabble-rousers and disruptors, when in fact, they're coming to actually move democracy forward, right? They're doing their jobs, and he doesn't see it as that. I mean, I don't know that any of us are surprised that this is what he had to say, because, Mitch McConnell all he's doing is just blocking and stalling and doing a whole lot of absolutely nothing on behalf of the people. And, that's unfortunate. But I don't want to lose sight of something, too, with this conversation, Laverne. I could go all day and come for Mitch McConnell because he's just a disaster and he serves no one but himself and Donald Trump. But here's the thing that's also really frustrating to me that we need to call out. In the midst of the Texas Democrats flying into D.C., guess who was packing his bags to fly to Texas to go make some money? Joe Manchin. So Joe Manchin, Senator Joe Manchin from West Virginia, who also happens to be the chair of the Energy Committee in the Senate, because, you know, fracking and oil and whatever else they're doing in West Virginia, that is certainly not a part of the Green New Deal, but I digress. Joe Manchin was going to Texas to have a fundraiser with a bunch of Republican, like, oil and gas titans. So this is who the Democrat is hanging out with, that we are staking our hopes and dreams on getting rid of the filibuster and like doing something around voting rights. We need to continue to call him out and not pretend that we don't see the looky-loo that's going down, and also like hold the Democratic leadership accountable to all of this, because how insulting and how ridiculous that Joe Manchin would, you know, like, oh, he's going to meet with some Texas Democrats and then leave and go to Texas and raise some money from some Republicans. The whole thing is a mess, and you have to wonder, really, the conscience and the soul of the entire Senate at this point, not even just a partisan vacation of it, all of them. What in the world are they thinking? I don't know.
Yes, so many double standards here, Aisha, but we're going to take a quick break. I want to bring you back, though. We got a couple other topics I want to pick your brain on. So we're going to leave it right here, and we're going to come back after commercial break. Stay with us, everyone. This is BNC.